Yeah. Okay, good evening, everybody. This is Angelina here from Sydney, and I've got my friend Nelly. Um, Susanna's uh, Susanna's actually here attending, but she's actually in a restaurant. So she's asked Nelly and myself to do tonight's presentation. So Nelly and I will be sharing the presentation. So let me start. I'll share my screen. Okay. Okay. Let me just. Right. So tonight's topic is about gut health. And the gut is one of the most important systems of the body. And by the way, again, I'm Angelina Manoto. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and I'm part of Susanna's team in here. So I will do this first part of the presentation, and then Nelly will come talk about the patches later on. So before I start, I just would like to say that both Nelly and myself, we actually do not have medical background, but what we do have is a passion um, for health and a passion to learn about health and doing life in a healthy manner and learning as much as we can, and what we learn we are passing on to you. So that's what this session is about. um, so this is the gut. The gut is basically the part of the digestive. It's the bulk of the digestive system. So there is a video that we would like to show. For those who have attended the digestive system presentation before, it's pretty much the same video, but because the gut is actually a major part of the digestive system, we want to review that video again. And then after the video, I'm going to talk about some of the more important aspects of the gut. Okay, so let me just share.
Across the whole planet, humans eat on average between 1 and 2.7
Life
kilograms of food a day. That's over 365 kilograms a year per person, and more than 28,800 kilograms over the course of a lifetime. And every
Yeah.
last scrap makes its way through the digestive system. Comprised of 10 organs, covering 9 meters, and containing over 20 specialized cell types, this is one of the most diverse and complicated systems in the human body. Its parts continuously work in unison to fulfill a singular task, transforming the raw materials of your food into the nutrients and energy that keep you alive. Spanning the entire length of your torso, the digestive system has 4 main components. First, there's the gastrointestinal tract, a twisting channel that transports your food and has an internal surface area of between 30 and 40 square meters, enough to cover half a badminton court. Second, there's the pancreas, gallbladder, and liver, a trio of organs that break down food using an array of special juices. Third, the body's enzymes, hormones, nerves, and blood all work together to break down food, modulate the digestive process, and deliver its final products. Finally, there's the mesentery, a large stretch of tissue that supports and positions all your digestive organs in the abdomen, enabling them to do their jobs. The digestive process begins before food even hits your tongue. Anticipating a tasty morsel, glands in your mouth start to pump out saliva. We produce about 1.5 liters of this liquid each day. Once inside your mouth, chewing combines with the sloshing saliva to turn food into a moist lump called the bolus. Enzymes present in the saliva break down any starch. Then your food finds itself at the rim of a 25 centimeter long tube called the esophagus, down which it must plunge to reach the stomach. Nerves in the surrounding esophageal tissue sense the bolus's presence and trigger peristalsis, a series of defined muscular contractions. That propels the food into the stomach, where it's left at the mercy of the muscular stomach walls, which pound the bolus, breaking it into chunks. Hormones secreted by cells in the lining trigger the release of acids and enzyme-rich juices from the stomach wall that start to dissolve the food and break down its proteins. These hormones also alert the pancreas, liver, and gallbladder to produce digestive juices and transfer bile, a yellowish-green liquid that digests fat, in preparation for the next stage. After 3 hours inside the stomach, the once shapely bolus is now a frothy liquid called chyme, and it's ready to move into the small intestine. The liver sends bile to the gallbladder, which secretes it into the first portion of the small intestine, called the duodenum. Here, it dissolves the fats floating in the slurry of chyme so they can be easily digested by the pancreatic and intestinal juices that have leached onto the scene. These enzyme-rich juices break the fat molecules down into fatty acids and glycerol for easier absorption into the body. The enzymes also carry out the final deconstruction of proteins into amino acids and carbohydrates into glucose. This happens in the small intestine's lower regions, the jejunum and ileum, which are coated in millions of tiny projections called villi. These create a huge surface area to maximize molecule absorption and transference into the bloodstream. The blood takes them on the final leg of their journey to feed the body's organs and tissues. But it's not over quite yet. Leftover fiber, water, and dead cells sloughed off during digestion make it into the large intestine, also known as the colon. The body drains out most of the remaining fluid through the intestinal wall. What's left is a soft mass called stool. The colon squeezes this byproduct into a pouch called the rectum, where nerves sense it expanding and tell the body when it's time to expel the waste. The byproducts of digestion exit through the anus, and the food's long journey, typically lasting between 30 and 40 hours, is finally complete. TED-Ed is a nonprofit. If you value our work, please consider.
Okay, so from the video, you would have appreciated the digestive tract function covers a whole lot of organs in the body. There's the liver, the gallbladder, the large intestine, the appendix down here, obviously the esophagus up here, the stomach, pancreas, the small intestine, the rectum, and the anus. So the intestinal digestive process covers a few organs. There's the bile, which is secreted by the gallbladder. The gallbladder is this green organ here that's shown here. The bile secreted by the gallbladder and the pancreatic juice that's secreted by the pancreas, they flow onto the duodenum, and they will be used as digestive juice to decompose the nutrients in the intestines. So inside the small intestine, we have the structure called the villi. So let me just put this up. So there are about 500,000 villi on the wall of the small intestine. Inside the villi, there are lymphatic vessels and many capillaries. Among the absorbed substances, almost all of the lipids pass through the lymphatic vessels. The glucose and amino acids are transported through the capillaries. There are absorbing epithelial cells in the villi. These are the epithelial cells. They absorb what's coming in, and the surface of the absorbing epithelial cells is covered with microvilli, which is about 1 millimeter long. So as it said in here, inside of the small intestine has protrusions called villi, also known as microvilli, and that's where all the nutrients are supplied. And if you can just imagine, the whole small intestine has got a whole row of all these villi. Then we also have the enteric nerve. So there are more than 100 million nerve cells in the gut, which are similar to the brain. The gut has a very complex neural network. Let me just, could I just please request everyone to mute themselves? So can you please mute yourself? So there are more than 100 million nerve cells in the gut, which are similar to the brain. And the gut has a very complex neural network. So it is called the second brain of the human body. So sometimes you might have heard the word gut feel. You know, what's your gut feel? It's basically, you know, what does your entire body think about a particular thing? The gut contains more than half of the nerve cells in the body. And the gut and the brain are closely linked through the nervous system and also have complex communication and connections with other organs. You would notice this yellow nerve that's running here. That's called the vagus nerve. That's the longest nerve in the body. It stems from the brain right down through all parts of the gut. So let's talk about the gut flora. There are about 20% of good bacteria. So gut flora means the microbiome, the bacteria community that's in the gut. So there are about 20% of good bacteria and 10% of bad bacteria in a normal human body. The remaining 70% of the bacteria are called neutral bacteria. And this can convert either into good bacteria or bad bacteria, depending on one's diet and lifestyle. Let me just a sec. Okay, all right. I've just muted. All right, can you okay, so the 70% of the neutral bacteria can become either good or bad depending on one's diet and lifestyle. So if there are more good bacteria in the body, neutral bacteria will gradually become good bacteria, making people healthy. On the contrary, the more bad bacteria there are, the more neutral bacteria will become bad bacteria, or it will lead to various diseases. So basically, the neutral bacteria is very much influenced by how we treat our body, our lifestyle, and our diet. So the intestinal immune cells. About 60% of the new immune cells are concentrated in the gut. So the intestinal wall cells that receive the message substance release antibacterial substances to fight off pathogenic bacteria. So the intestinal nervous system has more than 100 million nerve cells, which affect the organs of the whole body, including the brain through the vagus nerve. That was the long yellow nerve that was shown in the photo in the earlier slide. So this microsystem has a powerful force, and more than 60 to 70% of the immune cells are gathered in the intestine. Their defensive combat capabilities determine whether they can block bad cells or microorganisms from entering the body. So if we've got very healthy intestinal walls, all these other pathogens and toxicity that's trying to get in will not be able to get into the blood. So let's look at the normal intestinal mucosa. The normal intestinal mucosa can block pathogenic bacteria and undigested proteins from entering the blood vessels. So as you could see, there's a lot of toxins, and this is in a typical gut environment. Lots of toxins, allergens, virus that try to get into the internal intestinal mucosa. But if these are strong, they will not be able to get in. And these strong epithelial cells will actually stop those bad things to get into the blood vessel. But they will allow digested nutrients to get into the blood vessels. An abnormal intestinal mucosa, on the other hand, will allow those bad things to get into the bloodstream because they will just penetrate through into the epithelial cells. So this happens as the gut ages, or if the gut environment is poor. Whether there are more bad bacteria than good bacteria, this happens as well. The gas accumulates, the intestines continue to expand and contract, the cells of the intestinal mucosa become fatigued, and the connections between the cells become loose. So, as the connections become loose, all these negative, harmful substances pass through. It's kind of like you might have heard the term leaky gut. That's the leaky gut. The filtering function of the intestinal mucosa is it becomes abnormal, and the toxins, the viruses, the allergens, and other things are not filtered, thereby increasing the risk of infection or allergy because they're able to penetrate into the blood system. Serotonin. Serotonin is actually a chemical that carries messages between the nerve cells in the brain throughout the body. It plays a key role in mood, sleep, digestion, wound healing, bone health, blood clotting, and it does a whole lot of things for the body. So, serotonin manages emotions. Um, 80% of serotonin is actually found in the gut. So, according to research, the deterioration of the intestinal environment can also affect our physical state. People's resistance to stress is reduced and they become easily anxious. 80% of human serotonin, as I said earlier, is produced by the intestinal nerves. And therefore, it would be no exaggeration to say that all problems of the mind and body come from the gut. So, what are these intestinal disorders? There's a whole lot of them: constipation, diarrhea, feeling tired, getting pimples and dark spots on the skin, having decreased immunity, cardiovascular disease, colorectal cancer, chronic hepatitis and cirrhosis, allergic rhinitis, allergic bowel syndrome, aging, vaginitis, and so on and so forth. They all can be traced into um, illness in the gut. So, what are the things that harm your gut bacteria? So, there's quite a few. Let's put them up. So, not eating a diverse range of foods, lack of probiotics in the diet, drinking too much alcohol, antibiotic use, lack of regular physical activity, smoking, not getting enough sleep, and too much stress. So, how do we improve the gut health? So, we need to eat more probiotic foods. We also need to consume more probiotics. I'll talk about these two in a later slide. And we need to make time for quality sleep. So, improve the quality of our sleep, reduce stress, doing regular exercise, meditation, deep breathing exercises, and eating foods that are more conducive to the body. So, what are these probiotic and prebiotic foods? Nowadays, we probably have heard of those two, probiotic and probiotic, but there's actually three of them. There's probiotics, which are the beneficial bacteria. Then there's the prebiotics, which are the fuel for the probiotics. And then there's the postbiotics, which are the end result of the probiotics feeding on the prebiotics. Okay, so it's a bit confusing. There's a lot of peace in there. So probiotics are beneficial live bacteria that help ensure our microbiome works at the best of its ability. So it's represented in this you know, carton description here. Uh, the naturally fermented foods contain live microorganisms that help strengthen the gut's microbiome. So examples of probiotics come from fermented foods like plain yogurt, kombucha, kefir, miso, tempeh, sauerkraut, and kimchi. Now, the prebiotics, what are they? The prebiotics are types of fiber that the human body can't digest, but they serve as fuel or food for the probiotics, so that the probiotics can support a healthy digestive and immune system. So examples of prebiotic food sources are tubers, parsnips, Jerusalem artichokes, sweet potatoes, mushrooms, chicory, radicchio, carrots, and beetroot. Now, once the probiotics have fed from the prebiotics, what comes out of them are postbiotics. And postbiotics are bioactive compounds that are produced when probiotic bacteria consumes prebiotic fiber in your colon. And these postbiotics help stimulate T cell production and help support immune system. What are T cells? T cells are types of white blood cells or leukocytes that are essential to the immune system because they help protect the body from infection. Postbiotics also give short chain fatty acids that help with certain digestive ailments. They help ease diarrhea. They help suppress hunger signals, which could contribute to weight loss. And they help support healthy blood pressure and cholesterol levels. So, all these probiotics, prebiotics, and postbiotics, they're all really important for the body. Now, another thing that we're being asked to do is actually, you know, get some healthy fats into the diet. So Professor Su he's a Chinese professor, argues that humans are in need of natural saturated fats, non-seed oils. The body is genetically adapted to eat fats like eggs, meat, cheese. In in the Times Magazine, published in 2014, um, it says saturated fats are harmonious and encouraging people to eat butter. Also, olive oil is a good source of healthy fats. You could actually test a good quality of olive oil. If you put it in the refrigerator, the real olive oil actually solidifies. So there you go. The Time edition that says eat butter. Fat has fat has a lot of hormones which are good for the body. Obviously, you regulate it. It's not too much fat, but we all need to eat healthy fats. So what are the gut's best friend? I did mention fermented foods for the probiotics. The ferment intestinal bacteria partner the microbes can activate good bacteria. They inhibit the proliferation of bad bacteria, and the probiotics help maintain the diversity of intestinal bacteria. So there's samples there. Soluble fiber. This is for the probiotic side, which I mentioned earlier. They become food that's beneficial for the probiotics, short chain fatty acids, and so on. There are examples here as well. And oligosaccharides. The right amount of lactic acid bacteria increases beneficial bacteria as well. Oligosaccharides become food for lactic acid bacteria, and they effectively increase beneficial bacteria. Onions is a good example. Onions contain also polyphenols that prevent cancer cells from multiplying. And natural honey has enzymes to help digestion. Other best friends for the gut, there's EPA, DHA carrying, fish like they inhibit intestinal inflammation symptoms and create an environment where beneficial bacteria can easily grow. EPA, DHA. EPA stands for, it's a bit of a mouthful, eicosapentaenoic acid and docosahexaenoic acid. Wow, that's a mouthful. Um, we need to eat more live food as well. So with all this live food, fish, salmon, salads, oysters, this nuts and cheese as well. So they all contribute to our body having EPA and DHA, and they can alleviate the symptoms of intestinal inflammation and provide an environment for the growth of beneficial bacteria. So, as you can now start to see, there is a lot of importance of having healthy gut flora. So, just to summarize it all, a healthy gut flora improves our heart health. It helps in controlling the blood sugar levels and reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes. It reduces the risk of irritable bowel syndrome and inflammatory bowel diseases. It reduces constipation, reduces the risk of chest pain and heart attack, reduces the number of harmful bacteria in the intestine, improves digestive capacity, improves the health of the liver, improves the symptoms of depression and other mental health disorders, reduces risk of dementia and Alzheimer's disease, improves the function of the immune system, reduces the risk of autoimmune disorders and frequent allergies. It helps in weight loss, reduces the risk of certain types of cancers, especially breast cancer, colon cancer, as an example, improves the health and texture of our skin, and improves mood and energy levels. That there's 16 things that a healthy gut flora actually helps our body with. So let me just finish my part of the presentation with this video.
Trillions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi live on or inside of us, and maintaining a good, balanced relationship with them is to our advantage. Together, they form the gut microbiome, a rich ecosystem that performs a variety of functions in our bodies. The bacteria in our guts can break down food the body can't digest, produce important nutrients, regulate the immune system, and protect against harmful germs. We don't yet have the blueprint for exactly which good bacteria a robust gut needs, but we do know that it's important for a healthy microbiome to have a variety of bacterial species. Many factors affect our microbiomes, including our environment, medications like antibiotics, and even whether we were delivered by C-section or not. Diet, too, is emerging as one of the leading influences on the health of our guts. And while we can't control all these factors, we can manipulate the balance of our microbes by paying attention to what we eat. Dietary fiber from foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, and whole grains is the best fuel for gut bacteria. When bacteria digest fiber, they produce short-chain fatty acids that nourish the gut barrier, improve immune function, and can help prevent inflammation, which reduces the risk of cancer. And the more fiber you ingest, the more fiber-digesting bacteria colonize your gut. In a recent study, scientists exchanged the regular high-fiber diets of a group of rural South Africans with the high-fat, meat-heavy diets of a group of African Americans. After just 2 weeks on the high-fat, low-fiber, Western-style diet, the rural African group showed increased inflammation of the colon as well as a decrease of butyrate. That's a short-chain fatty acid thought to lower risk of colon cancer. Meanwhile, the group that switched to a high-fiber, low-fat diet had the opposite result. So what goes wrong with our gut bacteria when we eat low-fiber processed foods? Lower fiber means less fuel for the gut bacteria, essentially starving them until they die off. This results in less diversity and hungry bacteria. In fact, some can even start to feed on the mucus lining. We also know that specific foods can affect gut bacteria. In one recent microbiome study, scientists found that fruits, vegetables, tea, coffee, red wine, and dark chocolate were correlated with increased bacterial diversity. These foods contain polyphenols, which are naturally occurring antioxidant compounds. On the other hand, foods high in dairy fat, like whole milk, and sugar-sweetened sodas were correlated with decreased diversity. How food is prepared also matters. Minimally processed, fresh foods generally have more fiber and provide better fuel. So lightly steamed, sautéed, or raw vegetables are typically more beneficial than fried dishes. There are also ways of preparing food that can actually introduce good bacteria, also known as probiotics, into your gut. Fermented foods are teeming with helpful probiotic bacteria like lactobacillus and bifidobacteria. Originally used as a way of preserving foods before the invention of refrigeration, fermentation remains a traditional practice all over the world. Foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, tempeh, and kombucha provide variety and vitality to our diets. Yogurt is another fermented food that can introduce helpful bacteria into our guts. That doesn't necessarily mean that all yogurt is good for us, though. brands with too much sugar and not enough bacteria may not actually help. These are just general guidelines. More research is needed before we fully understand exactly how any of these foods interact with our microbiomes. We see positive correlations, but the insides of our guts are difficult places to make direct observations. For instance, we don't currently know whether these foods are directly responsible for the changes in diversity, or if something more complicated is happening. While we're only beginning to explore the vast wilderness inside our guts, we already have a glimpse of how crucial our microbiomes are for digestive health. The great news is, we have the power to fire up the bacteria in our bellies. Fill up on fibers, fresh and fermented foods, and you can trust your gut to keep you going strong.
Okay, at this point, I would like to pass on to Nelly. Let me just, can you please unmute?
Unmute. Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. Let me share my screen and can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So for those ones that don't know me, my name's Nelly and I'm from Sydney. As Angelina said in the beginning, we're helping Susanna for tonight because she can't make it. So I have been using the patches since June 2021. So let's start. So my part of this presentation is to tell you or to share with you what are the patches that can help us to have that healthy gut. Okay. Oops, sorry. So these are the patches that could help us. This, as again, Angelina and I, we don't have any medical background. So this is just a matter of sharing. We're not claiming any medical claims here, all right? So first would be the X39. And if you know, or you've been using X39, you already know what X39 can do to our body. So just to recap, obviously X39 boosts energy and endurance. It's very safe. All the patches are safe and natural, and they also give you natural pain relief, improves sleep quality, and easily relieves stress. It improves our immune system and specifically reduces inflammation and balance cellular mechanism. And then also improves skin complexion. And all of us, we want to look younger and feel stronger. And also improves athletic performance and speed up recovery. And then enhances skin's beauty, improves those pigmentation and wrinkles. As we have heard in the presentation, when we don't have a healthy gut, we have lots of age spots, right? And then the last one is increases cell communication and also improves hair loss. So the next patch would be the glutathione, which as we all know is a natural antioxidant, and glutathione increases 300% in 24 hours, improves immunity, detoxifies the body, and again, it's a beauty whitening. You know, just a side comment, in the Philippines, glutathione is only known for beauty. So when I first heard the glutathione in the patches, I thought, oh, it's what for beauty. Why would I use that, pay that much just for beauty? But then once you understand what glutathione can do, you'll fall in love with the glutathione patch. So liver detox, removes heavy metal, and then reduces infectious diseases, and also good for non-alcoholic fatty liver, improves overall health. So the few things that all the box in red are the ones that glutathione can help with a healthy gut. And then glutathione can be used day and night. attach to the middle or right hand foot. Here, middle or right hand foot. And then also use 2 patches for the first week and gradually increase later on. So the third patch that's good for the healthy gut is carnosine. And as we all know, carnosine is good for increases the stamina and endurance. Okay. And then improves irregular heart rate, improves muscle strength and flexibility. Again, it increases cell capacity by 125%. Improves digestion problem, improves the degradation of the original tissue, and it's an antioxidant and anti-aging, and helps with heart problems, and then prevents nerve, brain, and degeneration. Prevents also Alzheimer's diseases, and then repairs senescent cells, and then removes heavy metals from the brain. Improves cataract, autism, heart disease. So there are lots of benefits using the carnosine patch. So all of these are just, if you've been using the patches, these are just all sort of reinforcement or refreshing our memory of what really these patches can help. And then bear in mind that we're also looking at the healthy gut. So Ion is another patch that would be recommended, is so that Ion reduces inflammation, balances the autonomic nervous system in 10 minutes, helps stress, causes other organs, tissue, and DNA problems, and then increases physical health and anti-aging. Again, Ion can be used day and night, attached to the middle or right hand or right foot. Just one anecdote with the Ion. My second son, told me yesterday that he couldn't sleep properly. So I said, why don't you put the Ion? And then this morning, he woke up really late and was late for work. So he said, what did that patch do to me, Mom? Because as soon as he went to bed, he fell asleep and then he couldn't wake up with his alarm. So I said, that's good then. So, but that's good for, because his first day in his new work. So not a good start. But anyway, it's been proven that it really helps with sleep. Yeah. And then Ice Wave is a quick pain relief, and then it's very effective, the Ice Wave. And as we know, there are different patch locations for Ice Wave. There are 4 videos from David Smith explaining to us how to patch Ice Wave, where to put it, and then again, it can be used day and night. And always bear in mind that the tan or the brown patch is at the point we put it at where the pain is. Okay. And then we have that 12, 3, 6, 9 o'clock rotation to find where it could be the most effective. And these are just, again, some recommendations. Say if you're experiencing, or one of your friends are experiencing this type of symptoms, then this is a suggested patch that we can use. So with vomiting, we can use glutathione, and then improves digestive system, carnosine. Stomach ache, can use X39, glutathione, Ice Wave. And then discomfort of the stomach, carnosine, Ion, and X39. Oh, and then body odor. It's glutathione and Ion. And then eczema is glutathione, Ion, and carnosine. Sorry, X39. And then a bloody stool would be X39, carnosine, Ion, and glutathione. And then herpes is Ion and X39. High uric acid, X39, Ion, and glutathione. And then gout would be X39, Ice Wave, Ion, glutathione, and carnosine. And then it says we detox the body for 5 days first for 2 times. So, and then as I'm not sure if you're aware, but Susanna has published her book with all the different ailments or ailments that you would experience or some of your friends would be experiencing. Okay, so any questions? Do you have any questions at all? So let me stop sharing.
You can unmute yourselves now.
Yes, and ask
Please
questions
do.
or share anything that you have experienced with the patches if you have any. Yeah.
Any questions? Has anyone experienced any gut problem?
Yes.
Hey,
we
Susanna.
have a quiet bunch. So
Yeah.
so I guess if what you have seen from the recommended patches, so if you use X39 plus the Y age, you're on the right track.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so ion, carnosine, glutathione, and X39.
I find that using carnosine, 6 fingers above the belly button for digestive problems, actually helps me a lot. Actually, I use it for my granddaughter. I patch her, when she's vomiting or she's got any digestive issue. I
Yeah.
patch it on her.
Good.
Anyone who would like to share anything? Any testimony? Susanti is here.
Yes,
Hey, Susanti, how are you?
Hi.
Yeah, nice to see you.
Yeah. Sorry, been running around
Yes.
the whole day, so it's like, yeah, been listening.
Good.
Yeah.
Did
How's
it all make
everyone doing?
sense?
Yes, it does. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I better stop recording now.
Yes.
Yeah.